So, Srimati Malati Dasi's background, she met her future partner in 1991. I like this bit of the story. You met many devotees many times in the 70s when you were waiting in cinema queues. So that must be,
yes.
that makes complete sense. That's really funny. I'd like to know how many cinema queues and what films. You moved to Mulumbar in 1994 and you started taking more associations. You ran the farm shop at the ISKCON New Govardhan Center. You met Gurudeva in 97 and you took Harinam and Diksha. You didn't mess around. The following year, you took Harinam and Diksha and you assisted in his traveling party. To be really amazing. And you acted as his nurse for a few weeks as well, which gave you a lot of close and intimate and special association. So a very warm welcome. Mulumbar, New South Wales, Srimati Malati Dasi, please offer your Pushpanjali.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Namo on Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Pratmane Srimati Bhakti-Vedanta Narayana Tinamani. Thank you very much. I think we must have a big crew of very enthusiastic and generous Vaishnavas that people are here listening to me now. It's quite extraordinary, very heartwarming. Thank you for the opportunity. So I'll begin by the thinking of the teachings that I learned from Srila Gurudeva. As Prabhu said, I was a relatively new devotee, only about 3 years reading Srila Prabhupada's books, and Srila Gurudeva came to our area. I was encouraged to go and see him by my dear neighbour and my eldest daughter. Quick, Mum, you must come and see this fantastic guru. So I was very quickly went and saw Srila Gurudeva almost from the first day he came here to Mulumbar. And I think at a time where I had many questions in our philosophy and I wanted to know more, and I found that Srila Gurudeva offered a seamless movement from what I'd learnt from the platform of Srila Prabhupada's books. And so I found that there was no like reinventing the wheel. Gurudeva didn't take me backwards or make any confusion at all. He carried me from that point where I'd learnt for the 3 years that I'd been reading Srila Prabhupada's books and brought me forward. The 2 words that I learnt, I remember very strongly, and of course they're still with me now. When Srila Gurudeva first came the first year, the 2 words I learnt, and you must forgive my Sanskrit pronunciation, is lobha and prayojan. So I learned greed and goal. And I learnt those 2 words, and they stay with me as a foundation for my practice from then on. Srila Gurudeva was able to clarify our goal. And for me, this was illuminated my whole life in bhakti. So I had a clear understanding of where I was going. Not to criticize, but I found that was a moving forward. From where I'd been taken to in ISKCON. It was like, I read then what Srila Gurudeva had been instructed to do by Srila Prabhupada was to build on his instructions. And I felt that was very much what Srila Gurudeva was doing. Some criticism came of Gurudeva in our area, but because I could feel that I was completely confident in his teachings. And then every year that Srila Gurudeva came, you know, in hindsight, you could see the systematic development of what he was teaching us. And every year, you know, our topics would become deeper and deeper. We'd begin to learn the importance of Srimati Radharani in our understanding and our goal and our philosophy. So I felt in very, very safe hands that Srila Gurudeva was teaching us and taking us to our highest goal. So very fortunate in this way. I'd also like to speak about Srila Gurudeva's ability to connect with us. If someone, I know very very much that Srila Gurudev wanted to become our friend, you know, Bhakta Bandhav. He wanted to become friend of the devotees. And he wanted us all to develop a relationship with him. One of the ways that someone becomes your friend, a friend that you can trust, is that they can recognize you. You feel recognized. You feel seen by this person. And I know that so many people would talk about the experience of Gurudev making eye contact with them, perhaps only a fleeting eye contact in a class. And they would feel that Gurudev could see them, he could know them, he could understand them. And so I know that he had this ability to connect with so many people and to see them. The person would immediately open their heart to Srila Gurudev, knowing that he could see them and he was not critical, he was welcoming, he was loving, he was our ultimate friend, our person there to help us, you know. I'll talk now, I guess, about some examples of Srila Gurudev doing that, how he would approach the people and build on that relationship. And one thing that, you know, I had the great fortune to spend a lot of time with Srila Gurudev, as Prabhu mentioned, when he was unwell. And I had the job of helping in the house where he was, because I always had a very friendly relationship with the members of the travelling party and would put my hand up to do jobs for them. So I was in the house a lot. I was bringing the shopping, helping with the cleaning, and then also being in the house and giving Srila Gurudev intravenous medication. So I had a great deal of time to spend with Srila Gurudev. And the mood and the affection in the house was thick. There was no visitors allowed. There was only the travelling party, and the mood of love and affection and such a jovial mood, despite Srila Gurudev being unwell. Everybody knew he would get better. It was not a dangerous situation. You know, Gurudev needed a rest, but we knew that he would be okay. So the mood was very jovial. And Srila Gurudev, I think, was affected by that mood, or he may well have been the source of that mood, I suspect. And one of the jokes in the house was my accent. Now, of course, I'm going across the world and everyone can hear that I have a very Australian accent, won't go away. So there was a big ongoing joke in the house was my accent. Gurudev was getting better every day, as I said. We knew he would get better. So one day I'm sitting with him, just fiddling around with the medication, and he looked at me and he said, so what do you call me? And I had an inkling of where this was heading, you know? And I went, oh, my spiritual master. And he went, no, what do you call me? And I went, oh, Paramahamsa, you know, all the time avoiding what I knew he wanted me to say. And no, what does everybody call me? Everybody call me. I went, oh, Mahabhagavat, like this. And he went, no, I know what you call me. You call me Srila Gurudev, you know, with the most accentuated Australian accent that he could come with, you know. So much laughed. Everyone was very happy, but this was, you know, Gurudev's affection towards me. In Australia, it's very friendly to tease people. It's a sign of deep affection. So all the time, Srila Gurudev developed this mood with me. Everywhere I went, when I went to India, likewise, he called me out one time in the crowd, asked me, where is my laya? That was my elder daughter is a lawyer, so he would call her that. Where is my laya? And I said, oh, she's not here. She's in England, Srila Gurudev. And he looked at me and said, oh, she is so much more intelligent than you. And again, you know, so much mirth, so much laughter. That this just is an Australian way to develop affection with somebody, you know. So this was his mood all the time, that he recognised who I was, what would make me happy, what would bind us together. So I know that with you know, you could see that this was evident with his interactions with people from all around the world when he came here, that he was able to connect with everybody in such a you know, unique and personal way. And so what to say, that I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity to have had that time with Srila Gurudev, where I was able to develop a more personal relationship with him and thicken that relationship. I need that to support my bhakti. I feel that I got a lot of attention because, you know, I have a different life, you know, more working in science, working outside of the devotee community. So I felt that Srila Gurudev gave me a very strong background to keep me attached to him, to keep me thinking in my bhajan. You know? So I feel very, very grateful for that opportunity of caring for him in that way. So, yeah. So thank you, Prabhu. I just want to share a little bit. I'm quite nervous, I must say, so I'm not so good at public speaking. So I'll just finish off there if that's okay. Was that long enough? Or?
You did great, Didi. And by the way, this isn't public speaking because the only people on this call are the family, so there's no public.
Okay.
So you're in very safe hands.
Oh, thank you. The internet makes me nervous. I'm okay in the classroom. I do a little teaching, I'm fine. But when it comes to technology, I'm just not that comfortable, you know?
Tell me about it. There's so many things that can go wrong. But don't worry. All we have to do is when it goes wrong, just have a laugh.
Okay, well, I'm good at that. You can tell I'm good at that. I've got many joking stories that I think Srila Gurudev picked up on that. And, you know,
what I love about Australians.
Always
you guys,
laughing, yeah.
That's what I love about Australians. You like to have a good joke. They're normally a bit
yes.
dark.
Yes,
the jokes.
Very much.
And you're totally irreverent.
Yeah, very much. And this is what Srila Gurudev did. He recognized that and saw that because of my nature, my Australianness, that he could have a lot of fun, and we did. That was the sort of mark of my nature. Everywhere I went, he would laugh at me, and I would be so happy. You know?
I'm going to tell you a little story about Damodar Maharaj. You know Damodar Maharaj?
Oh yes.
Who I love very much. I'm not going to give the details. It's a bit redacted, but basically,
I'm laughing already.
yeah, exactly. It's very funny. So basically, we had a meeting of about 45 seniors, and I was facilitating the meeting. No need to explain what the meeting was about. Should we just say it was tense? And Damodar Maharaj came up with just the most inappropriate comment you can imagine. And a very nice lady from Delhi called Mrs. Somnath, who's married to Mr. Somnath, who's been a devotee of Gurudev's for many years.
Okay.
She voiced her disapproval. I said, Didi, I completely understand. Please understand that Maharaj is Australian. And then, and then everybody just laughed. And then that was kind of the end of it.
That's very funny. Funny.
What I loved about your sharing, and I think this is a real Australian quality actually, is it's very direct and very grounded. I loved what you said about Loba and Sadhya. I mean, those two words, and Lobe for Lobe as well. That made when Gurudev, when I found about Lobe, I was a little bit intimidated. But when I realized if I don't have Lobe, I can have Lobe for Lobe. And I was like, okay, this will really work. So
yes,
that was very special to share that. So thank you for overcoming your nerves. So did you want to say something else, Didi?
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. I can tell you lots more stories. But
go on, tell us a story. Tell us one story.
If you need it, you know.
Tell us one story before we move on.
Okay. This is funny. This is again accentuating the Australianness of our family and life here. But I was at the house, and Vrinda, of course, Didi also knew, you know, Srila Gurudev's humour very well, and she also appreciated the relationship that I have with Srila Gurudev. Was so much fun. And so she's sitting with Srila Gurudev one day and went, oh, Gurudev, here is poor Malati. You have so much affection for her daughter, Damodar Priya. What about Malati? And Gurudev went, you have some affection? And he went, so little, like this. And so I had like this, pulling a face to match. And, so that had me rolling around on the floor, I found that so humorous. And so
he did like to tease his devotees. He did tease us.
Yeah, very much, very much. And so this worked for me, and I'm not saying this is more appropriate than one thing or another, but it worked for me. It connected me in a way. And so Srila Gurudeva could go to the heart of somebody and see them and let them know that they'd been seen and that they'd been loved, that they were welcome, He did the same to my mother. He even did to my mother. He connected with her, and in a way.
Is she a Christian, a theist, an agnostic?
Yeah, she's Catholic. Yeah, she was a Christian. She had studied Catholicism, born a Protestant. And my children took my mother to meet Srila Gurudeva at the airport. They made her drive across Sydney, took her to the airport. She's very lively. She could see there was fun in this, so off she went. And drove them to the airport. Srila Gurudeva saw them there. Oh, you have come. The girls were there. Oh, Srila Gurudeva, this is our mother, Our grandmother, this is our grandmother. So Gurudeva moved everyone away and sat her right next to him. And my mother's very fancy. She's passed now, but she's very fancy lady, very nicely dressed, lots of jewels, beautiful hair. So Gurudeva, could recognise with this and looked at her and sat back like this and said, so how old do you think I am? And then, engaged with her like that. And she's like, well, and he, well, I have an Indian body. You have a Western body. Do we look as old as you? And engaged in my mother in this way, in such a charming way, and just captured her heart. It's so lovely, He was almost flirting, in a sweet sort of way, approaching her, seeing her strong body consciousness and her desire to look good, So he was not critical of that, but he utilised that to put her in his heart. And beautiful. From that day, we gave her a photo of Srila Gurudeva, which she kept in her lounge room. Everyone would come to the house asking, who is this man? Why is he here? Who is this? And she would say, he's a very important man. He's just like Saint Peter, she would say. And so she even had a little understanding of his position. And it captured her in this way. So his ability to do that, but without any judgment. There was no, you should be this, you should be that. It was seeing somebody for who they were, where they were at that present moment, and welcoming them, acknowledging and welcoming them, So
he did the same with my dad in Holland. He sat my dad next to him in front of 250 devotees and pointed to me in the audience and said, is he your son? And my dad said yes. And he said, well, he's my son too, so we must be brothers.
Oh, see.
And my dad's agnostic, but it melted his heart. So.
Yes. So it just shows. And so I would only ever pray that we really glorify this quality of Srila Gurudeva as much as we can, and try to be a little like that ourselves, totally. Where we can look at each other, recognise each other, and be warm and loving, And so for me, it's just all the tattva, all the wonderful things I learned in the back of my mind, Loba, Prayojan, my goal. I know where I'm going. I'm trying.
Sorry, you said Prayojan, not Sadhya.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no problem. Just trying to understand, how we need that little greed. I try and remind myself to try and get greedy for greed and do like this. So I hold all that tattva, very dear. And I read every week now. I'm studying Jaiva Dharma, and I'm ever so grateful for Srila Gurudeva for giving us that book. I love it so much. But for me, his ability to grab our hearts is preeminent.
The number one. Didi, thank you so much. One. You don't seem shy. You don't seem nervous anymore.
I'm okay now. No, I'm okay.
Bring you back on.
Thank you. Well,
Thank
I've
you
got
so
a lot
much.
more stories, but you better let me go. Okay, thank you again
Thank you
for
so
the
much.
opportunity.
Haribol.
Thank you all the Vaishnavas.
Beautiful.
Hare Krishna.